Hello, guys. This Frosty's here, along with my buddy Possum, and together we are Frosty
Frosty Possum.
Possum. Uh, Today we have another exciting episode going on. We have a fantastic accounts that Brother Possum is going to share with us. Um, and I want to take this opportunity at the beginning to remind everyone that we're actually wanting to set up a series like this. So when you watch either our any of our fantastic accounts programs that we've got set up, to please comment if you have a story you'd like to share. You're willing to audio tape it with us so that we can post it. We would really appreciate anybody's input as far as that. Doesn't have to be ghost. It can be ghost. It can be cryptids. It can be just a bizarre story.
Something weird.
Right. The name of our channel is Every Bit of Horror, and we did that on purpose so that anything that potentially scares somebody or spooks them or whatever, we can cover it. And so this is just another of our attempts to get people excited and to participate. Also, if you guys like what we're doing, please subscribe. YouTube operates off of subscriptions, ringing the notification bell, and commenting. So, but again, we appreciate y'all sitting in and listening. And I am going to let Possum go with his story now.
Okay. All right. Back in the early 80s, when I first started college, I was a speech and theater major. And we did a musical. We did a production of Gypsy. And we had done the show one night, and the audience left and everything, and we were sweeping up the stage. And I was standing on the edge of the stage looking out at the auditorium. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw very clearly this actress who was very active in college and community theater. She was an older lady, but she was standing on the stairs. There were two stairways that went up on each side of the stage, and she was standing on those stairs, excuse me, with her hands clasped at her belly, and she was smiling and looking around. Now, that's a slowed down version of what I saw. What I actually saw was, I glanced, it registered that it was Miss Mary, I'll call her. And when I looked back, she wasn't there. And I burst into tears. She had, I had met her, she had died earlier that year of cancer. And she would have played Mama Rose probably if she had been alive, and she would have been damn good at it. Not denigrating the actress that played it, but Miss Mary would have been wonderful in that. Anyway, I burst into tears and was standing there hysterically sobbing because it scared me, but it also kind of overwhelmed me, I guess. And somebody came up and asked what was wrong, very concerned, and I told him what happened. And somebody else had wandered over, and they both looked at me like, whoa. So they decided that we needed to go tell the director of theater who had played Mama Rose. I don't know if she was impressed. She had a little minion that followed her around, and the minion was not impressed at all. I heard later that she said I was making it up.
Well, and that was something I was going to ask you, Possum. Has anybody else seen her before? Have you heard about anybody
No,
else encountering her?
I was the only one that saw her there.
Oh, I understand that night, but I
Yeah,
was just
no.
wondering if you know how places over
Right.
time.
I think a couple of people have felt her presence. The costume shop was downstairs, and where we worked, there was a big mirror thing that you could see through into the other room. It had once been for speech therapy, and they had a one-way mirror so that students could be on the other side and observe without being seen. And I think people felt like she was wandering around down in the costume shop. But I didn't ever hear anybody else say that they had seen her. But there were a lot of people that believed me, that believed in things like this, and they were very solemn. They took it seriously.
If you don't mind, I'm going to interrupt there again. And that's one of the reasons why we called this segment, this series, Fantastic Accounts.
Mm-hmm.
You and I struggled with that because we don't even want to call it Fantastic Stories because stories kind of make you think, well, somebody just made this up.
Yeah.
Our whole purpose is to give people respect and to not allow them to be, a punching bag
Ridiculed,
because
yeah.
ridiculed, a punching bag of it, and again, we hope that does grow. I also want to say this, and I've seen it in. We have another series that we're running, but it's basically on paranormal tools, what paranormal hunters set up, and one of the last ones that we did was on the Frank's box. And in there, one of the things that I was very happy about when we put it together was they have a segment where they talk about the respect of the people who have passed or the ghosts,
Mm-hmm.
and that they ask permission to talk to them, and if they don't give it, well, then they hush up and they go on. They move on with it. They don't try to force the issue, and I really admire that part of the ethics of it.
Mm-hmm.
You just got through, and I don't know if you're even consciously aware of it, but was talking about that Miss Mary maybe was traveling through because y'all were trying to put together a show and stuff, and that may be one of the things that had her excited about it, and I really like that attitude about it.
My take on it was that she was standing there very pleased with the show. Very approving, and I guess that's what got to me. It was nice to have her approval. I had seen her once in another show, and she was brilliant. I mean, top notch. And for somebody that just did that for fun. But anyway, I saw her briefly and then she was gone. And she hadn't been on my mind. It just occurred. And things like that happen every once in a while.
Well, and I think you bring up a good point too, and I have no research to support this. I've had people that I've talked to about it, and then I've had my own personal experiences with some of these things. But it's, everybody thinks about ghosts and cryptids and all this other stuff, that they're monsters coming after us. And I think that there are those that are, and I think that you can feel that you don't have to be a medium to be able to pick up whether that entity is out to harm you or, like you just pointed out with Miss Mary, being happy, pleased with what's going on with it. And again, I am not a medium, but I think that, that's helping, doing things like that sometimes I think helps them to pass on, or, depending on what theory you go with. But if they wanted to see that particular performance be done the right way and everybody be all energized, that might have been something that helped with that, which may be the reason why hasn't been any follow-up. I don't know. It's all speculation, I get, but I think you're bringing up some excellent points with that, and I appreciate that.
Well, it was just very. I wish somebody else had seen her because um, it would have been important to a few people. They would have greatly. I hate to use the word enjoyed, but they would have probably had the same reaction that I did. That it was very personal, very meaningful. I may cry sitting here.
That look, you do what you need to do. Again,
But
I recently watched a series on YouTube, and I bet you a lot of the people who listen to this will know what I'm talking about. But he had an experience, and this is a tough, blah blah blah, tough guy, and all this other, and and he became extremely emotional, and I respected the fact that he didn't hide his feelings or didn't cut.
yeah,
And actually, because here's another line with this while we're doing this is, you never know how things are going to turn out. If one of your colleagues that was a student or who knew of you or who participated in that program back at that time sees you coming out and telling what you experienced, we may be getting, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we may be getting a telephone call saying, look, I had an experience like that too, but I haven't wanted to say anything because people will think I'm crazy or whatever. And that's where a lot of evidence does come up is somebody kind of breaks the out the mode, and then all of a sudden we got this other. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing this with this channel is we're trying to kind of have a more humanistic approach to this so that we can support one another with it.
yeah. Um, she was very pleased with the show. I think there were a couple of other people that were like, why did he see her? He wasn't even friends with her. We went and saw her in the hospital. We went to the funeral. Why did he see her?
That's a good question.
Was kind of a little bit nasty, but things like this have always kind of happened to me and my kids. We live in a world of weird. So, but anyway, that was an experience, and I just remembered it. Something happened yesterday, and it triggered that memory, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember that."
Well, and we expect that to happen.
Yeah.
At least, I'm saying me and you talked about it, but I definitely expect it to happen. Even when we start having guests come on, I'm sure we're going to have follow up calls. After going back and thinking about it more, hey, there's another incident that happened that I think that we push these things down because of the attitude of society.
Ridicule, right?
Yeah, don't talk about it. I want to go back to. I know I'm talking a lot on this. This is not even my story, but I think you're bringing up some really good points that I want to point out to our people. The question, why did it happen to you? I think that's something that paranormal psychologists and scientists need to be studying on. And I'm going to go back to something that I know we have all heard over and over again. Small children. They don't know these people. They don't know these stories. They don't know what's even going on. And if people will stop and listen to what the kids are saying, and that's what happens a lot of times, is they're trying to tell, but nobody will listen to them. But then we find out that they're having these experiences. It's like they're open to it.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe it was I'm not familiar with the play, but maybe it was the music had you emotionally at a level that you could connect with her. It could have been intellectual things, maybe the way that you're thinking about it. But see, to me, the paranormal investigators, that's very valuable information, because if we can get on the emotional level of the deceased, or if we can get on the intellectual level of it, you can the field experiments that they do, there's a stronger possibility of being able to reproduce, what occurred, and that's a part of science. Science, you have to be able to demonstrate that you can do it over and over again, and get similar results to it. Goes back to validity and that I don't mean to get into all that today, but those are good points.
Well, anyway, I swear to you that it happened.
That is something that
And it
I
happened
appreciate.
in 3 seconds.
But I appreciate that happening. But that is something that I personally don't want us to even have to. I don't want people to have to tell us, I swear it happened.
Yeah.
I want them to be able to tell their story, knowing that we're not about judging them on it.
Okay.
And I'm not criticizing you at all, but I just want our people to know that we will not. I'm not going to ask you to prove your point to me. That's
Well, but
sometimes.
how do you prove? Yeah.
But that's just like I'm talking about with the what is why did you have the experience and other people didn't, or why do kids? Is it? But a lot of the people, the professionals in the field, are so closed off to it. They won't even ask those questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if people will quit being judgmental and actually do the research and start looking, I don't remember ever seeing a study where it looks at just the things that we talked about tonight. Why one person is seeing them over other. I think that's certainly an area that needs to be researched. So you're going to finish up that PhD and get busy with it, brother. But I do appreciate, Doug, you pointing these things out to us.
All right. Well, that's my story. And this is Possum.
And I am Frosty.
And together we are Frosty Possums.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate you. Please like and subscribe. We hate saying it and bugging people with it. And once we hit our first 1 million subscribers, we'll stop or whatever.
So subscribe, give us your stories, give us your comments. If you want to say you think I'm full of BS, fine.
That's okay. I don't let him read the comments either. Trust, now I'm playing. But I am going to tell you this. I am a firm believer in the more heads that get put together, the more creative and problem solving and that type of stuff. So guys, if you've had a great idea in the past, if you've watched these type of shows but nobody's doing it, even if you're wanting to do it yourself, I please feel free to call on me. I will help in any way I can with the technical. Not that my stuff's the sharpest in the world, but I can always point you in the direction. Or if you would like to participate, we welcome you guys to come on the show and do it. As far as that goes. But anyways, thank you so much. We're going to let y'all go at this point. We'll see y'all in the next one.